Good afternoon, Israel briefers from all around the world. Thank you for joining me, Rolene Marks, on today's edition of the Israel Brief, where we take a look at those top stories making headlines every Monday to Thursday. And we do it in conjunction with these guys, Lay of the Land. And as always, just a reminder that if you have any questions that you would like addressed on the Israel Brief, don't be shy. There's no such thing as a silly question, because very often I get people saying to me, I have a question, but I feel it's stupid. No such thing as a stupid question. Please be in touch with us via our website or via our social media. It is day 613 since the atrocities of the 7th of October. We still have 55 hostages that remain captive in the hell of Gaza. This is what the world should be focusing on, not the performative cosplaying of Greta Tunberg and her cronies who were aboard the Madeleine. More about that in a second. But the 55 hostages, we believe 20 to still be alive, and the rest are deceased, either killed in captivity or killed on the 7th of October and their bodies taken hostage. The only exception is Hadar Golden, who fell in defense of the State of Israel during Operation Protective Edge in 2014. Now, today is day 613. If you are familiar with Judaism, you will know that there are 613 commandments in the Torah, and the families have asked everybody today to do a good deed in the merit of the hostages, even if it's just smiling at somebody. But please do that good deed to remember our hostages. Now, I had a lot of comments coming in from yesterday's show, all kinds of comments. What I found particularly touching is that our viewers are animal addicts like me, and everybody was very, very happy to hear about the sighting of the rare whale shark off the coast of Eilat in the Red Sea, in addition to the endangered monk seal who pupped on our shore. So yeah, I'm going to keep those animal stories coming because I know that you guys love animals just as much as I do. And of course, many comments about Ms. Tunberg and the goings on there. A lot of people expressing their mirth at the image that has done the rounds around the world of Greta gazing lovingly at a gigantic turkey sandwich handed to her by the IDF. And somebody said, you know, she seems to have stopped taking a lot of selfies. Well, I guess she's going to need both hands for that giant sandwich. So what is the latest with Greta and the crew of the Madeleine? Well, last night the boat was towed into the port of Ashdod, and as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said yesterday, any aid on board will be given or distributed to civilians in Gaza through the legal mechanisms. That is, the mechanisms that are going into Gaza, like the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, who are active on the ground, who have distributed millions of meals. So anybody still pushing that narrative that Israel is starving civilians and especially children in Gaza, that is nothing less than a blood libel. And I'm going to get to that in the audience question, because that is the question from Rob from Virginia for today. Greta, a couple of hours ago, was put on an El Al plane, right at the back of the plane, bound for Paris. She willingly accepted being deported. There are still several of the crew that refuse to go and are likely to appear before a judge. So what were the options? The crew on board were detained by the Israeli authorities. They spent the night in a jail that is used for illegal migrants. Now, yesterday, Defense Minister Israel Katz said that they would be shown the video, the 47 or so minute video of the atrocities that were committed on the 7th of October that were filmed off the GoPros that Hamas gleefully did or uploaded to Facebook as they did, or gleaned from security camera footage and dash cams. When they realized what they were watching, they all promptly closed their eyes and refused to continue watching. There are none so blind as those who will not see. And obviously the brainwashed Greta and her crew refused to see the reality of what happened on the 7th of October. Absolutely shocking. Now, what I find very interesting is the Swedish foreign minister commented, Greta is Swedish. There are those accusations that she made that she was being kidnapped. I don't recall anyone being kidnapped, being given a big sandwich and then promptly put on a plane and taking advantage of the amenities on board as they are sent back home. If only our hostages were treated in such a manner. But the Swedish foreign minister said, you know what, she ignored all warnings not to go to a dangerous place. And as far as we are concerned, basically they wiped their hands off her. That she has created a massive problem for the Swedish Foreign Ministry by having her supporters tie up the lines from people who need real consular help from the Swedish Foreign Ministry. And what was I going to say again? Yes, so that aid that was on board, the very little that was on board, has been distributed, and that brings an end to the whole selfie yacht, as our Ministry of Foreign Affairs calls it. Completely performative and cosplaying. And I just want to say something. War is a serious business. War is affecting the lives of both Palestinians in Gaza and Israelis. We too are suffering as a result of this war. It is not a video game. It is not your opportunity to cosplay. And I know that there are many young people out there who see a lot of images on TikTok and are riled up and are brainwashed and want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and therefore are swallowing the bullshit that is coming out of social media. I urge you, and I know that maybe it goes against what the trends are, what you are currently taught. Make sure you know the facts on the ground. People's lives are at stake here. Our lives are at stake. Make sure that you are aware of the facts and not what some activist on social media is trying to push in your direction. Now, the Israeli Navy, for the first time, carried out airstrikes on Hodeida port in Yemen earlier today. The Israeli Navy, using their Sa'ar 6 corvettes, fired missiles towards the port from hundreds of kilometers away. They fired two long-range missiles that destroyed infrastructure that is used by the Houthis to smuggle in weapons. Yesterday, the IDF Arabic spokesperson issued evacuation orders for civilians in and around the port. Now, why is the IDF striking Hodeida port in Yemen? This is because the Houthis, who are an Iranian-sponsored proxy, have been firing ballistic missiles towards Israeli civilians on a near nightly basis. Now, what is absolutely fascinating to me is we don't hear any world leaders, the United Nations, NGOs, social media justice warriors saying anything about the fact that Israelis are being fired on by the Houthis. And just earlier today, after several months, a rocket was fired from Hamas in the north of the Gaza Strip towards Zikim Beach, setting off the sirens there. It was intercepted by Israel's air defense systems. Now, turning to South Africa, and this is a topic that a few of you wrote me about yesterday, and I actually covered it in an article for the JNS.org, the Jewish News Syndicate, earlier today. You can read my article up there. 6 Israeli runners who were competing in the Comrades Marathon on Sunday. This is the world's oldest ultra marathon. It is run in the province of KwaZulu-Natal every year. the title Comrades is to celebrate diversity and unity, and some 80 plus countries participated. Well, the ANC Youth League, prior to the race, sent out a press release calling on the Comrades organizers to reverse their decision to allow Israeli runners to compete, to participate, and they also published their names and their race number. Now, it's not unusual for people to publish their race numbers, because this is a way of that friends and family can track them. But the way that this was done is it encouraged action against them, and the 6 runners were verbally harassed and abused by members of the ANC Youth League, who were wearing Palestinian flags around their necks or waving them in their face. They were actually running towards, ambushing the runners as they ran along the race route, saying things like, "Down, down Israel, go home, we don't want you here, this is not your land," accusing Israel of war crimes and apartheid and genocide. And while the South African police did try and step in and push the protesters away, it was very, very dangerous for all of the athletes, not just the Israeli competitors, but all of the athletes, and quite frankly has added to South Africa's rather dismal international reputation. The Comrades organizers have not commented, but really, really disgusting, and I'm sure most South Africans agree with me that it is very, very unsportsmanlike. Now, finally, let's end on a good news story. The president of Argentina, André Milei, landed in Israel earlier today. His first port of visit was the Kotel, was the Western Wall. The president is here to receive the prestigious Genesis Prize. He will also address the Knesset, Israel's parliament, and will meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Herzog later today. So Mazal Tov, congratulations, President Milei. So those are our top stories. My light seems to have pegged out on me. So let's take a look at the audience question, and it comes from Robin, Virginia, who says, Rolene, why does the mainstream media insist on parroting Hamas? Well, I think this is several reasons. First of all, they are not fact-checking. In this very, very fast-paced moving news cycle, they don't check the facts. Second of all, I think we have seen that a lot of journalists have ceased to be journalists and have now become activists, and as a result are not bringing you the facts. Many of these news organizations, like the BBC, like Sky News in the United Kingdom, have some kind of institutionalized anti-Semitism. I'm going to say it straight like that. I mean, now 20 months into this war, the BBC keep on using or parroting Hamas quotes, Hamas statistics, with the knowledge that they have been debunked so many times. So why do they continue to do it? But we all have a role to play. We can start insisting, applying pressure, writing in, phoning in to these news channels and asking them, actually demanding that they do a better job of presenting the facts, because the problem with this constant pushing of the Hamas narrative, it is creating a very, very dangerous global climate for Jews around the world. And as we've seen in recent months, people have been killed, people have been severely injured. So Rob, I hope that answers your question. And on that note, that's it from me for today's edition of the Israel Brief. Whew, it's boiling hot here, guys. Don't forget that you can check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. So if you like your news unfiltered and hot off the press from Israel, please hit that red subscribe button. Let's get our algorithm and Israel's narrative growing out there. We are on LinkedIn at Raleen Marks, on Instagram at Raleen_Marks, and on X at Lay of the Land 5. So guys, God bless you all, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.